Now, one of the things that I always talk about in my class with my students is that balance between creativity and control. And you know, when you look at a career, one has that same question. How much do you map it out and sort of, you know, become a fire and forget missile? Okay, now I'm going to go to business school, then I'm going to go into investment banking, then I'm going to go become a this and a that. And how much do you let things just fall in your lap? And so I'd love to hear your philosophy about, both of you, that question between mapping things out and being very much in control versus being a bit of a leaf in the wind and taking opportunities that present themselves.
For me, I have had, I think, a lot of clarity around ultimately what I'm about as a person, the kinds of impact that I want to have, the way I want to show up and be in whatever workplace I'm in. But specific decisions about jobs have been made within that framework, but largely opportunistically. Using a couple key guidelines. I've always pursued things that really somehow touched my passion, because I've had the premise that if I was working on things that I was energized by, then I would excel, and if I excelled, that would lead to more opportunities. And that's really proven to be true for me. So it wasn't so important that the path be logical as it was that I didn't end up being stuck in jobs that I really didn't enjoy and consequently didn't do well at, because that could have been a dead end in a number of very significant ways. The other thing that's been important to me is that I move often enough. I'm someone who thrives on the steep part of the learning curve. And so, sort of for the same reason, it's important for me to be learning new things, having an opportunity to be energized and stimulated in whatever role, so that I can continue to perform and excel and be excited about what I'm doing. And so those have been guidelines that have been consistent and that have enabled me to evaluate opportunities as they came along and decide which ones that I would accept and which ones that I would walk past.
What I've noticed in my life is that opportunities happen not by accident. It's like, it's like saying success happens to those who are, who are prepared. It doesn't happen by accident. It's happened because I have been very consistent, like Deborah, in being who I am, in expressing what I care about, in being true to my values and principles in my choices. And what served me pretty well in this process is, in every case, I've generally chosen to be involved with the highest integrity, highest quality people I can find. And I've definitely looked for the source of the richest opportunities I could find, knowing that in every single instance, something else will happen. Another door will open. And at this point in my life, the thing that I'm now very confident in is if you are true to yourself and consistently make high-quality decisions, that each of those decisions will lead somewhere. There's a sense, and I do this a lot with my students, especially at the end of the term, everybody comes up, what am I going to do with my life? The real question is, what are you going to do next year? Right? And everybody's sort of worried, they fret the decisions. What if I make a mistake? Well, you will. You'll make plenty. And the real question then is, how are you going to live a satisfying, good life when life is full of mistakes? And how are you going to express yourself and realize your potential and be satisfied and fulfilled in an environment where you don't have control? Because that's life. People say to me, how do you become a venture capitalist? I don't know. Somebody asked me. People say to me, how do you become a professor at Stanford? I have no clue. Somebody asked me. How do you write a book? I don't know. Somebody called me up. I don't know these things. I never planned to do any of them. But when those doors opened, I looked around and asked myself the same question I always do. Is this a unique opportunity? Is it consistent with what I believe and care about? And can I take it someplace interesting? And if I can, I go through the door. And then 10 more doors open. And I just went through a door this last 2 months, and we'll see where it leads to. This is, believe me, when I say this, and I put myself in your shoes, particularly you students, I don't know how I would have reacted to this information 25 years ago. It's kind of earth-shattering to know that you don't have any control, isn't it? It's kind of earth-shattering to know that life's going to be full of mistakes. And a lot of you will ignore it and just try to plan and execute anyway. Good. Do it and learn and grow in the process.